Hi, it's Jen coming to you from outside today. Looking a little rumpled, but I decided this was a really good time to share some things. I know that a lot of people are, it, at least I feel and I hear that people are feeling very fearful about the coronavirus. And today I just thought it would be a good time to teach a little bit or share a little bit of what I've learned. Through some classes to help deal with, intense emotions and things to help you. That'll help you to deal with crisis. So I'm starting with some crisis tolerance skills. I'd like to do some mindfulness meditations, but this is kind of my first of these. I'm sitting outside today because being outside is something that you can try to do when you're dealing with intense emotions, when you're stressed out. And well, it's March here. It's the 5th, but I hear the birds and there are flowers popping up, and it's a nice time to stop and notice those things. So generally in crisis, like our bodies through time, I guess our reptilian brain, as I guess doctors would call it, teaches us to go into fight or flight mode. But this is what we're trying to avoid. This is what we want to get out of, because as neuroscientists have found, we're not guided by just our genetics. We are guided by neuroplasticity. We're able to change the patterns of our thoughts. We are not bound by them. We're not bound by biology. And mindfulness and crisis skills are not something taught in school. It's something, at least not in the US, it's something that I think is critically important, but it's just not taught generally. It's something that you have to go outside of a classroom to learn. So I'm hoping that in sharing with you today that I can make a difference. Apologize if you hear cars going by. I've been dealing with some difficult things as well, and so I thought, what better time to talk about, crisis tolerance and mindfulness than today? Because if I can help people with things that I know, then I'm making a difference. So if you'll excuse the slightly messy rumpled hair, I'll kind of just talk some more with you today. And I'd like to end with a small activity to kind of help you, kind of give what I'm talking about, share what I'm talking about, and hopefully help you in your mindfulness journey and learning how to deal with intense emotions. Can be anger, sadness. This is good for anxiety, which is kind of why I'm doing it today. But it's just something I think is critically important because, again, I didn't know these things. I don't believe that I grew up learning these things in school. No one taught them to me. I had to go seek kind of outside and a way to learn them and kind of classes to take to learn them. So I think it's critically important for everybody. I think meditation is so important, but we don't really teach it either. A lot of religions do that, but this isn't, it's not necessarily religious based either. It's just something that everyone could benefit from. It's more of a spirituality. It's more of an awareness, being aware of everything around you. And I'm just kind of looking outside because it's pretty. It's kind of cloudy out, but I'm still enjoying just being out here and just being, really. And that is part of the process here. that I'm speaking to today. So let's see. One skill that I've learned is that when you're in an intense situation, and this takes practice, these are things that do take practice, but please don't discount it for that, because I think it's critical to just stop and don't react. That sounds like the hardest thing to do to me personally, because I know that I can jump straight into an emotion and that feeling and thoughts start, kind of going through your mind. But you just do not react. Don't move a muscle. You just, take a break from the situation. Breathe. Breathe in to the count of 4. Breathe out to the count of 6. And you can repeat that. Keep doing it. And then something that you might want to do is just kind of pay attention. Okay, what am I thinking now? What's going on around me? What's going on in the situation? And if you need to write it down, that's something that could be helpful. A lot of people find journaling to be helpful. But really, what you want to do is just kind of act with the mindful awareness, and I know that may be a foreign thing to you, but it's just being aware what's going on inside your mind, outside, around you, being aware of your emotions. Sometimes it's focusing on what's happening in your body. Like right now, it's a little chilly, and I'm hoping it's not coming through here, but my arms are shaking just a little bit. That's why I keep shifting. But so, we have our fight or flight mind, where again, that's our base brain. That's kind of what our body wants us to do, just from the reptilian brain, like they call it, the basic brain. So you wanna think, and you wanna try and decide what decision is the best for me to make right now. What's going to be the best for me long term? What's going to be the best for me and the others around me? Because our choices really do affect everyone. So that is one skill that is very helpful, I think. So let's see. There are other things that you can do. I already talked about breathing, but you can try. There are certain things like that can snap you straight out of some people, at least. They work for some people, and some of these things don't work for everyone. But for instance, grabbing an ice cube if you're dealing with an intense emotion. Grabbing an ice cube, because that coldness just kind of rips, it can rip your little whatever cycle synapse that your brain is going through. It can rip it out of that and allow you to keep going forward in a more aware manner. I have gone outside before when it's really cold and just took my shoes off, and I find grounding to be incredibly important practice. Being outside in general is good for our brains. We're around technology all of the time now. It's something that we are consistently bombarded with. So they say that, sometimes camping for a week can like reset your body, but away from social media, because I think a lot of us are kind of addicted to that time. And I think I've started having a day where I just kind of try and leave my phone alone, just kind of take a break, because, and also from television, because so many of us have difficulty with just being in the silence. And I think that's a skill that it's important. And that's why being outside, nature kind of knows what to do. The birds, they know that the weather's changing. The trees know the weather's changing. So they're starting to bud because it's gotten warmer. The bulbs that have been planted, they're popping out of the ground because that's what they do. They don't need someone to tell them. Like the bushes that have been cut back, they're starting to grow little new little sprigs of growth. And the animals, like I've seen robins, and they're not around during the winter, but they're around in the spring, and that makes me happy to see those. So it's just paying attention to the things that, or learning the things that help you. Because essentially I want to help you guys, if you find this helpful, to come up with a list and something that you can go to. I used to have a note card where I wrote down things that helped me, and sometimes I'd keep it in my car because I was going through some really difficult times. And I don't know that our healthcare system allows everybody to have therapy, and I don't think so. I think that in a lot of ways that people that are the most vulnerable might need this, and that's why I'm sharing with you. I'm hoping to share something that I know and that has helped me and hope will help others, because I think in life that's kind of our purpose. Like, if we're living just for ourselves, it doesn't bring happiness and joy. But when you live your life in service to others, both of you find joy. So go back to grounding. It's something that maybe in the winter is not as easy to do. I mean, I've done it in the snow even, but I wouldn't say that you guys should do that necessarily. But grounding, so just taking your shoes off and walking in the grass. I did this as a kid a lot. I mean, I was barefoot a lot of the time, and it felt good. And a lot of what adulthood is, we've drifted away from that wonder, that childlike nature. And I think that deep within, whatever you want to call it, whether you believe in a spirit or a soul or not, I think it misses that. I think we lose that childlike nature, and it's not beneficial to us as human beings. It's not beneficial to the people that are around us. And sometimes what adulthood is unbecoming everything that maybe you were taught that is not you. So taking your shoes off, you can stand in an area of grass, like touch a tree. Just kind of feel, I'm looking at a tree right now, feel the sensation of the bark and the way it feels. And this is probably easier if you live in a rural area, but you can also go to a park. Most cities have parks, or colleges have like arboretums and things like that. So that's something that I have found to be highly beneficial. When I am having an intense, anxious moment, I go to meditation, or I go to grounding, and sometimes I just stand there for a few minutes and kind of allow myself to shift. And while I'm there, I'm just trying to, let myself be, not necessarily stopping any thoughts that are going through my mind, but just being. And I might try to visualize the earth, because that's what you're standing on when you're barefoot, right? And the earth is beneath you. It's supporting you. And gravity's kind of hugging you in a way as it's holding you down. It's attaching you to the earth. Otherwise, we'd all be floating around, right? So I can kind of, when I do this, see the green light. That's what I imagine it as. You might see something different, but kind of green light coming up from the earth, because when I was a kid, I loved being outdoors so much. And I think I felt so peaceful and supported. And again, like I said, we get away from that as adults, but sometimes you just have to learn how to deal with things. With everything in the news about the coronavirus, well, first of all, I'll tell you that I don't watch a lot of news, or I try not to, because usually there is an alarming thing, and I am very susceptible to feeling emotionally, it will make you depressed if all you watch is the news, I think, because it'll give you the perspective that the world's gone to hell in a handbasket, and how are you going to keep a positive perspective that way? And something that I hope to talk to you about is that, our mind is perception, and we can choose different ways of thinking. We can choose different ways of being. We can choose gratitude in every moment that we're in. And it helps to shift from that anxious, angry, gotta get it now, gotta do this now state of being, and take a breath, because we're not called human doings, are we? No, we're called human beings. So I think essentially we all have to learn just how to be. And again, I'm sorry for this slight shaking, but it's chilly. But we have to learn how to be. And I hope that I can assist you with that. And you can let me know in the comments what you're feeling, and we can have a conversation. And I think what I'm going to do, instead of tacking that onto the end of this video, the mindfulness meditation or exercise, I think that what I'm going to do is record that separately. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope that you're having a nice day. Be well. Know that regardless of what you're experiencing in your life right now, it's not the end of the world, even if it feels like it, okay? I can tell you that I've been through many moments where it felt like the world was falling to pieces. It's not, because you have yourself, and you are capable. Just know that you're capable, and you have an immense amount of strength within you. Even if no one else has told you that, I want you to know, every single person watching, you have this immense strength within, and it's going to be okay. Regardless, it's all good. It's going to be okay. Namaste.